Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
There'll be a brief ad at the end of this video. Now, I had a lot of people send me this. Because it has to do with HOAs. California law caps at $100 most fines that can be levied by homeowners associations. We've heard horror stories about people who are in a homeowners association, they get in a fight with the board, and it's over something like whether or not they mow their lawn properly, or if they've got the wrong shrubbery, or the vehicles parked in their driveway have the wrong patina. I've heard all kinds of crazy stories. And of course, they can say, oh, every day that's happening is a violation. So if you're going to fight with us for a month, that might be 31 violations in a row before we resolve this. And guess what? It gets to the point where you might not be able to risk losing because of what it could cost you. So Nadia Lathan wrote this for Cal Matters. Millions of California residents could get a break for violating their homeowners association rules due to a new law that caps fines at $100, down from hundreds to thousands of dollars. Amid an affordability crisis, lawmakers and groups that represent homeowners have characterized the cap, which took effect on July 1st, as protecting middle and low-income residents. However, HOA boards say that they worry the new restriction will limit their authority to enforce the rules. Oh, yeah, it will. Attorneys for homeowners and HOAs say it will get rid of the extreme cases where board members impose unfair and egregious fines to retaliate against homeowners they dislike, and that happens also. So the CEO and president of a law firm that represents both homeowners and HOAs said, I've seen the worst of the worst, and HOAs fine thousands of dollars and foreclose on those homes. Generally speaking, that seems reasonable to bring that down, referring to the fine, because this is one of the biggest issues living in California, because HOAs have very broad powers to enforce the rules. So they can fine you. If you don't pay the fines, they can then foreclose on your home. That's the scary part. So the cap on the fines for HOAs was quietly inserted into an unrelated major housing reform legislation, Assembly Bill 130, that exempts most new housing from environmental review and is led by several different people up there in Sacramento. The language of a separate bill, Bill 681, capped the HOA fee, was included in the housing reform bill just days before the governor signed it into law, drawing little attention. So we were active in negotiations with the staff and actually provided amendments to the pro tem's office as well. What we're promoting was greater transparency and notice when fines take place at associations and avoiding a cap at all, said an attorney who represents HOAs. We were very surprised when the language showed up that was capping the fine. So one of the senator's office did not respond to an email requesting comment on this. HOAs are nearly inescapable these days if you're shopping for a home. Their rise continues to skyrocket as 67% of all new single-family homes built last year nationwide were in HOA communities, according to data from the U.S. Census Bureau. That's up from 46% in 2009. In California, more than 50,000 HOAs govern around 65% of the state's homeowners, according to the California Association of Homeowners Associations. It's an association of associations. California residents paid a median of $278 in monthly fees, which is among the highest nationwide. They create and enforce rules for home, apartment, and condominium owners and are controlled by the residents themselves, who elect and then can also recall board members. HOAs have faced the ire and frustration of Californians for decades, and lawmakers have proposed legislation seeking more transparency on governing boards. I've heard stories from people who said, I'm in an HOA, and they hold meetings without telling anybody. I'd like to go to the meeting and complain, and we get a newsletter going, there's a meeting 3 days ago. Okay, I'd like to know about one in advance. And I've also told people, if you don't like the HOA, maybe get yourself on the board. You can do that too. Most neighborhood disputes are resolved through casual conversation and end cordially without a fine needing to be imposed, according to the chief executive of the Executive Council of Homeowners and a lobbyist for the HOA boards. In cases that require more formality, the board must hold a hearing where residents can explain themselves before a fine is levied. But there are extreme instances where situations escalate and devolve into expensive disputes between residents. And we've heard of this before, where people take something to court and it goes up on appeal and you're litigating for years, and potentially the fines are stacking up on a daily basis. That can happen. So the new state law in California bans HOAs from charging late fees or interest in addition to the $100 cap, with the exception of rules that affect public health or safety. So if it's aesthetic, the color of your shrubbery, that's not health or safety, I wouldn't think. It also gives residents more leeway to absolve fees after they've been charged. Lawmakers said it's a step towards addressing exorbitant fees prevalent in some HOAs. So, with nearly 65% of California homeowners living in HOAs, excessive fees have quietly drained family finances for too long. By capping fees and fines, except for health and safety, we set fair standards, protect generational wealth, and finally put homeowners and HOA boards on equal footing. Now, some homeowners also see the new restrictions as a necessary check on boards that misuse their power over superfluous violations, such as painting a home a bold color. Now, we've heard stories where they'll actually say, in this community, you can paint your home any color you want as long as it comes off this color palette. It's like Henry Ford saying what color you want your car, right? So, a bold color. The question is how bold. So, an advocate for homeowners with the Center for California Homeowner Association Law said, our concern about violation fines in the past are that there has been no procedure for determining if a violation has occurred. The board tells the homeowner they're guilty until the homeowner proves their innocence. And guess what? There's no jury. It's the board. So the board tells you you're guilty. You've got to convince them to say, oh, I guess you're not. Many board members are fearful of the consequences of their diminished power and worry how it will affect their ability to enforce neighborhood rules. You don't have the leverage anymore to get people to change bad behavior. A neighbor who leaves their RV parked in the driveway in violation of association rules might just eat the $100 rather than pay for RV storage that's more expensive. It takes a tool away from a board to make behavioral changes that are needed. And so I've mentioned before that when you buy a home in an HOA, the HOA rules are often built into the deed, meaning that you are on notice that these rules exist, and a lot of people don't read them or aren't aware of them in that sense. And so unfortunately what happened was so many people have gotten in these situations where there are boards fining people huge exorbitant fees, and people are now ticked off. And a lot of times it was never presented as, hey, let's try to work this situation out. It was more, here's the rule, you're breaking it, and every day you break, it's $100. Stop breaking the rule and pay us all this money. So board members have also argued that the lower fine could cost the entire community more. If a neighbor continues to break the rules and refuses to pay their fees, forcing boards to pursue the only available alternative, which is costly litigation. And of course, the entire community pays the cost of the litigation. We've heard stories also where someone's taken the board, in essence, the HOA, to court and won, and then the entire community's got to pay for a loss that was incurred on their behalf by the board. The change is not expected to affect HOAs financially, as fines are not a significant amount of their revenue stream, according to a lawyer who does work for them. The days of homeowners associations telling you that your garage door needs to be painted might be over, said an attorney who represented homeowners and HOA boards. That's probably a good thing. And so I've seen every end of the spectrum. There are people in my audience who say, Steve, I live in an HOA. I love it. The board is friendly. They walk around. They might point something out, but they don't take action unless somebody is so far out of line that everyone thinks, hey, you got to take some action there. But I've also heard the stories where the HOA rules actually said that if the drapes inside your house can be seen from outside your house, then the drapes must be a certain color. And so if somebody walks by your house one day, looks and goes, your drapes are the wrong color. But guess what? It's in the rules. It says that. And so I've had people say, but Steve, that's a crazy rule. Somebody drafted that rule and got it put in the rule book. Rules can be changed. HOA boards can be changed, and laws can be changed. And so what you do, if you're in an HOA and you don't like the way things are going, talk to your neighbors. Do they feel the same way you do? Okay, start attending meetings. and get yourself on the board. And I've mentioned before, I lived in a condominium years ago. I lived in a condominium and 176 units, I believe. And there were some things that the board was doing that I was not 100% with. So guess what? I got myself on the board and I made friends with a couple other board members. And I like to think I was one of the rational voices in the room. But I also got to tell you, there was some crazy stuff that we encountered. And I've mentioned before about the person who had the St. Bernard that had puppies, a lot of puppies. And so there was a lot of, and I believe the phrase was St. Bernardage in that condo. And the neighbors weren't happy about it. And I understand why. So it can go from that to somebody calling up and saying, I've got a neighbor who makes a lot of noise. When? How much noise? And these are all townhouse condos that are attached to each other. Yes, you can hear things next door. That's how noise works. But again, it's a spectrum. The good HOAs make the place look nice and clean. They're well run. They maintain the common elements, and people like living there. Other end of the spectrum, some people with nothing better to do get themselves put on the board and walk around looking for violations. And some of those stories I've heard were crazy. Somebody buys a house in a community with an HOA, and they've got a privacy fence around their backyard that was there when they bought the house. They lived there for a few years, and one day they get a notice of violation that says, you've got a shed in your backyard that does not meet our requirements. The shed was there when they bought the house. The only way to see that shed is if you're in the yard, or if you walk up the fence and peer over the yard. No, they did not see with a drone. They walked over the fence and peered into the yard and said, we spotted something in your backyard that violates our rules, even though it was there when you bought the house. And the only way we can be bothered is if we come over and peer over your fence. And when asked what they could do about it, they said, you can tear it down and then ask for permission to put it back up again, and we might give you permission. Why can't we just ask for permission to have it grandfathered in right now? If we did that for you, we have to do that for everybody. Is everybody doing this? Like what? How many of these sheds are out there? So we'll have to watch and see what happens. This is an experiment. It might not cause any problems, or it might cause everything to go in just off the rails. We'll see. But as of right now, in California, there's a cap on most fines that can be levied by homeowner associations at $100. Cal Matters published that. Nadia Lathan wrote that. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye. I told you at the top there'd be an ad at the end of the video, and here we are. I'm here to talk to you about Lehto products. I've talked to you about them before. Back in 2014, Dr. Karush Madahi took a look at his industry and asked himself what he could do to revolutionize oral care. And so he's one of America's top dentists, but his inspiration came from a simple yet ancient remedy: sea salt and water, a solution suggested by a leading periodontics researcher. This marked the birth of Lehto, which is a brand that stands for its rejection of artificial flavors, dyes, harsh chemicals, and preservatives. Lehto's line of products are certified non-toxic, microbiome safe, harness dead sea salt, coconut, and lemon peel oil, and they offer products for whitening, tooth sensitivity, bad breath, dry mouth, and all without damaging the enamel. Now, here's the deal. What we're talking about right now is the Lehto Ultimate Whitening Kit, okay? And I've talked to you before about Lehto. And for instance, I have one of their toothbrushes, and I use it every single day. I love their products. But here we're talking about the Ultimate Whitening Kit in particular. It is a complete dentist-formulated whitening system. Everything you need for a visibly brighter, healthier smile. The bundle includes whitening strips, toothpaste, mouthwash, and the Bright Pen, all peroxide-free and enamel-safe for daily use. And you're going to be able to get that Ultimate Whitening Kit from Lehto for 30% off today by using one of the links below. If you use this kit, your teeth, 15 shades whiter in 14 days. I don't know if you're like me, but I drink Diet Coke, but other people drink coffee or tea or red wine, or they smoke. All kinds of things that can stain your teeth over time. And of course, what happens is you don't notice it because it happens a little bit at a time. And so somewhere down the road, Try this. It'll amaze you. This has been clinically proven to whiten teeth by up to 15 shades in just 2 weeks. And again, it's formulated with natural things: coconut oil, lemon peel oil, mineral-rich sea salt, and it gently removes stains without the enamel damage linked to peroxide or other harsh whiteners. I have used these, the Lumino Ultimate Whitening Kit strips. I've used them. I've also used other ones made by other companies. And I'm telling you right now, I like these more. I like them better. And it's just something about when you use them, they feel gentler, but they actually get very, very good results. And so to me, these are a big step up from the stuff that I was using before I found out about Lumino. So healthy enamel means your results last longer. The formula works with your teeth, not against them, to break up stains and support healthy enamel. It's tough on stains, but gentle on your smile. So you can get the Lumino Ultimate Whitening Kit for 30% off today. I'll put a link in the description below. You can click on that, and that'll help you out. The key here is, normally the kit is $89.99, but right now the Ultimate Kit will be 30% off using the link below. So like I said, it's a product. I love their products. I've used all kinds of products of theirs, but right now we're talking specifically about the Ultimate Whitening Kit. So if you're looking at your teeth going, gee, I wish they're a little bit whiter, it can be done. It can be done. And so Lumino, the Ultimate Whitening Kit, it's a great product. I've used it myself. I wouldn't be here talking about it if I didn't. So again, get the Lumino Ultimate Whitening Kit, 30% off today. Click on the link below, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Don't be afraid your life will end. Be afraid that it will never begin.